Hi everyone, thanks for coming back for another review. Before we get started, if you would go ahead, click the like and share button, I would greatly appreciate it. So this week's book review is Eartha Kitt, A Daughter's Love Story in Black and White by Kitt Shapiro. And I hope I pronounced that last name right. We know how I am with last names. I do not have a hard copy of the book. I listened to the audiobook version. So I will include a picture of the cover in this video at some point. So let's go ahead and get into this. This story is about the journey and experience of Eartha through the lens of her daughter, Kitt. Some of you may know who Eartha is, but if you do not, let me clue you in. Eartha's iconic and distinctive voice can be heard in The Emperor's New Groove as Yasmina. She is an actor that is mostly portrayed as a sensual, dramatic, sexy, and sophisticated lady. Often dubbed as the sex kitten, primarily for her role as Catwoman. Yes, there was a Catwoman before Halle Berry. Okay, and that was Eartha. Eartha spoke 4 languages and sang in 7 different languages. Her most popular song that is played through every Christmas season to this day is Santa Baby, which was created in 1953. Eartha is another celebrity that isn't so different from the average Joe. Most of them, their profession and level of income are the only things that separate us. Eartha was a down-to-earth kind of lady, according to this book. She had a thirst for knowledge and shared that with whomever would listen. She was a stickler for correct diction and manners. Eartha had a poise about her that could be intimidating to some, even though she was very short in stature. She carried herself in a way that all eyes were on her when she entered a room. She had a commanding presence for such a short woman. Her professional persona followed her everywhere, when in fact she was said to be shy and a bit stage fright. Eartha had her share of suitors, but she is known for her comments regarding relationships. Eartha did an interview in which she pretty much indicated that one should not have to change themselves in order to fit and acquire and maintain a relationship. I think that video is played a lot. I've seen it played on Facebook a few times. It's been shared several times because it's her take on not having to compromise. I think how she does it. Why should I have to compromise to be in a relationship? This book kind of gives a little bit more detail behind those comments. So it gives you a little bit more context of probably why she said what she said. But she was actually married. She was married once to Kitt's father. So she did have a marriage. She did have relationships. Um, Kitt relays her childhood with a famous mother, Eartha. Kitt describes how she was Eartha's everything, literally. Eartha's mother gave her away as a young child. She was mistreated by those she was put in the care of. She had a high level of resiliency, and knew she had to work hard in order to have a better life. Her formative years were instilled in impeccable work ethic that she carried throughout her career. Eartha never found out the identity of her father. There were speculations of who her family members could be, and Eartha did take steps to find out who her biological father was, but those efforts were for naught because she did not find out that information. Eartha pretty much felt like her family was her daughter, and everyone else that she may or may not be connected to really didn't have a place in her current life. Eartha wrote 2 autobiographies and 1 memoir. She was an activist and opposed the Vietnam War. It was remarked that the questioning of identity and how it feeds the racial battle. She was also what I would call a minimalist. She wasn't the typical celebrity that balled out with jewelry or other possessions. And in fact, she was the opposite. She lived fairly modestly. She didn't waste food, and in fact would take her own Tupperware containers when going to eat out so that the leftover food could be packaged up and not wasted. She had a garden on every property she resided on. Eartha ate enough to survive and give her body nutrients, not to indulge. It would be said in today's terms that she was a clean eater. This was an inside look at the life of an iconic woman. Kitt shared her mother Eartha with us. Kitt relayed stories about her childhood and adult experiences with her mother. You can tell that Kitt loved and admired her mother. I can't tell you everything that was revealed. You'll have to read the book to find out more. I will say that I have a new level of admiration for Eartha. I learned new things about her and the life that she lived. I listened to the autobiography version and felt the narrator kind of kept you connected to the story. I'll be honest and say I don't know if I would have been able to go through the book if I had have read the physical book. I think it would have taken me a lot longer to read. Sometimes autobiographies and memoirs, it takes me a little bit to read those. I think it's because you're reading about somebody's life, and so it's not over dramatized normally, and it's not suspenseful. It's not a mystery. It's not technically a typical love story. I mean, it's really just the outlining of one's life and who they are and the experiences that they've had, so that sometimes cannot be as entertaining. But I did get through the audiobook version. I think it was maybe like 8-9 hours, somewhere around there. So the narrator kind of kept you engaged with the book, which is what I needed. I will say, if you pick up the book, it's a well written book. just me personally, kind of sometimes takes me a little bit longer with those autobiographies and memoirs. It's not exactly a typical page turner, you know. It's just kind of going through one's life. Eartha's life wasn't easy by any means. However, she is definitely a survivor and inspiration. The life nuggets that were bestowed upon us in this book can bless your life if you let it. Some of the statements I liked in this book are as follows. One of them is, sometimes it's good to fall down to see who will pick you up. Another one is, strength is to speak up and be quiet. What you say? Another one is, just because you don't like the way something looks or the way that it smells, what it eats, or how it behaves doesn't mean that it isn't meant to be on this planet. Wowzer. So there were more, but these are just a couple that I pulled from the book that I really liked. You'll have to read the book to find out more and what will resonate with you. This book obviously didn't have any discussion questions. Some discussion topics this reading could generate are the relationship dynamics between a mother and a daughter, the topic of identity and how knowing or not knowing can have lasting effects, racial inequality and hardships, child abuse and its lasting effects, one's view on religion versus spirituality, and a family's choice regarding those practices. There's could be a topic of stardom, pros and cons, and what people are or aren't doing with the platform they have. These are just a few topics, but I'm sure you could come up with more after reading this book. This book is moderately paced and overall a good read. I think you can get some nuggets of wisdom out of it. I think that it sheds light on who this iconic woman was through the lens of her daughter. And so with that being said, I give this a 9.5 out of 10. If you haven't read the book, go pick it up. See what you can learn and get out of it. If you have read the book, share your thoughts. I'd like to know what you got from it. As always, I would appreciate it so much if you would subscribe, click like, share, tell a friend. And until next time, keep turning the pages, my book lovers.